Hello everybody, welcome to the John Hardy Show. It's great to be with you once again. Today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips on how you can really realign your planning for what's coming up in front of you. And I've got some really outstanding guests with me, and I want to introduce to you in just a little while Greg Liddelow from Bellinus, and it's going to be a great show. Looking forward to sharing with you. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, it's the John Hardy Show, and we're starting our show with Greg Liddelow from Bellinus, and it's really great to have you, Greg, in the studio today.
Thanks, John.
We've been trying to work on this for a fair while.
Yes. Yep.
And get you in the show to help us understand what you do. So tell us a little bit of the background of Bellinus, because that's quite an interesting name to start with.
Yes, I'm an electrical contractor, and I pretty much specialise in installing solar, and Bellinus is a Celtic god of the sun.
Cool. So how did you actually pick that originally?
Well, we were going to go with Ra, which is the Egyptian god of the sun, but I have a lot of Celtic heritage, so that seemed to be the better choice.
Very cool. So, and how long have you been in business?
I've been a contractor since 2010.
Okay. So it's a fair while.
Yes.
And you've actually grown from contracting to actually running a fairly interesting business now.
Yeah, we've been taking small steps for a number of years and adding staff and expanding and taking on bigger and bigger projects, and things are starting to get exciting.
Yeah. So tell us what you've learned over that time as a business contractor, then as a business owner, and then as a business leader, because there's some quite interesting stages in that.
Right, okay. That's a pretty broad question.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I learnt my trade.
Yeah.
And when you qualify, you think, towards the time that you actually qualify, you think, okay, I'm set, I can go. But once you've earned your trade and you start your own business, you start contracting, you start learning exponentially in a variety of different ways.
Yeah. Because there's a difference, isn't it, between being a tradie and actually having a business?
Yes. Yes. It's great to have the baseline, which is to know your trade.
Yeah.
But when you start dealing with people and quoting and trying to market and employ staff, trying to recognise the strengths that your staff have and get the best out of them and make the business profitable, you wear a lot of hats.
Yes, you do. Yeah. What's the easiest hat that you like wearing?
Well, the hat that I would like to wear would be the successful businessman on holiday in Europe.
All right, okay.
But, wow. You have to, because you have so many tasks, and I'm not quite at the situation where I can employ a lot of office staff.
Yep.
I'm constantly changing through the day in the different roles that I do. So there's not one real predominant hat at the moment.
Yeah.
But I would like to concentrate on developing the business primarily, and having the right staff structure in place for the business to run on its own.
So we've been working together for a couple of years now. So tell me the difference that you've seen in having a coach in your room and not having a coach.
Well, the biggest difference is, as I said before, there are so many different tasks that you have to undertake every day that it's very easy to get lost in the detail and lose the overall picture. So by having a coach such as yourself come in once a month, it helps you regain your focus.
Yeah. And
even if you've been a little bit preoccupied and you haven't done your homework from session to session, the next session does help you refocus.
Yes.
And concentrate on where you need to develop your business and what steps you need to take and what you need to be prepared for.
Yes. And you've actually deliberately been working on moving yourself, in a sense, off the tools and into the office.
Yep.
And that's been a fairly deliberate choice of yours. So you release your team, but you also release yourself. So how is that actual process happening for you, and how comfortable are you?
It's a work in progress, but it's becoming more and more easy as I get along. We've had a few setbacks from time to time, as all businesses do, which means I have to take a step backwards and sort a few things out before I can push forward again. But I guess once you've found staff that you can recognise their talents and make use of their talents in a good way, that sets you up to take the next step.
Yeah.
So that at the moment I'd say would be the key factor for me.
Yeah, it's finding the right staff that can deliver to you and your standards
Yes.
that you want. So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about how you've done that, because that's a fairly important conversation we've had on a regular basis
Yep.
about the standard and the quality of work. So how did you decide on that space?
Okay, I did a mature age apprenticeship, so I was 40 when I did my electrical
Okay.
apprenticeship.
Mm.
And prior to that, I'd had experience with customer service and management and a variety of different roles in different businesses. So I approached my business from the standpoint of providing customer service.
Yep.
And everybody that has come in that I've employed so far has recognised that, and that's the way they apply themselves in the business as well. So I'm really comfortable with them representing my company to clients, and I know they're not going to let me down.
Mm.
I have had staff which I've employed on a temporary basis from outside, and I've found they've brought in some old-fashioned ideas of what tradesmen are, which has created a few problems for me, but I've overcome those.
It's really interesting, the power of customer service and the difference it actually makes in the marketplace. And it's opened up interesting options for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's really good when your client rings you and says, I was very impressed with the staff that came out, how they handled themselves, and we mostly didn't even know that they were here.
Mm.
Yeah, so that of course leads to word of mouth recommendations,
Yes.
which is the best form of advertising there is.
Yes.
Nothing beats a personal recommendation
That's
from
right.
one of your clients.
And they find it, because they're delivering customer service, they actually want to deliver a good product, which is really interesting, the power of what that actually does when we put the customer first.
Yes.
And so how do you spend that time with your team in having that conversation about customer service, quality of work, etc.?
Well, to this point, I haven't actually sat them down and given them the goal of how they present themselves to clients and what customer service is all about. So, because I've been a very small operator, so far it's been leading by example.
Great.
So they've learnt on the job, and
Yeah.
that's just how they present themselves.
Yeah.
Because they haven't worked for anybody else, so they don't know anything different.
Yeah.
And they just think that's what they need to do
Yeah.
when they're on site.
And this is really important, that leaders in business set the cultural tone,
Right, yeah.
which is what you've done.
Mm.
By the way you've modelled it, by the way you speak, by the way you interact.
Yep.
And they've learned from you, maybe been accidental, but you know, there is some deliberate learnings going on. And you were deliberate in how you've gone about your work. So have they given you any feedback about how they've learnt and developed as people and how they deliver their service?
No,
Okay.
they haven't actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be an interesting question to talk to them about how they've learnt and how they appreciate giving the kind of customer service, you know, to the clients that, you know, they're representing you on.
Yeah, I do remember during one of our sessions,
Yes.
we had some of our staff in,
That's right.
and you asked them,
Yes.
what do you think your employer values most? And they all said how they present themselves to the client.
Yeah.
And that was without any prompting from me. So,
Yeah.
I was
So that they've got
very
it, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
They've got
yeah.
your cultural setting. So, you know, it really is interesting. So far, customer service is really important, and culture. And culture comes from the top. If it doesn't come from the top, it will come in from somewhere else,
Yep.
and they'll dictate terms. But you're very strong in that place, that you know what it is that you want your team to deliver on your behalf.
Yeah, I'm big on promoting from within.
Yes.
And developing talent from within.
Yes.
And I'm almost loath now to take on outside employees because they bring with them bad habits.
Yes.
And you can spend a lot of time ridding them of those bad habits.
Yes.
And in that time they can infect your staff, which it just takes you backwards.
So, customer service culture, is there any other key component for you that you've found in businesses being critical?
They are the two key things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you work hard, don't you? So tell me about this diligence that you have, that I've noticed about you and the way you run your business.
We're very particular on the way we do our installs.
Mm-hmm.
We're always conscious of standards that you have to work to, and the fact that you're working in a private residence quite often, or a business, and people there don't want to be disturbed by your activities, especially if you're working in a business. They basically want to be able to go about whatever they're doing undisturbed, and that's what we aim to do, and we carry that out. And we always get comments at the end of an install as to how we went.
That's fantastic. Now, you've just completed a fairly big project. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was on a shopping centre.
Yeah. And how big was it?
That was a megawatt. That was 3,000 panels.
Wow. And how long did that project take?
That took 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's that done for you in your business now?
Well, it's given me the confidence to take on projects of that size.
Yeah.
It's developed some contacts for me through necessity to get that particular project out of the way, which I can use going forward to take on more projects of that size.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So businesses can't do necessarily business just by themselves, can they?
No.
So tell me about that. I call it leveraging.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about what that space looks like for you now.
Well, I was under a fair amount of pressure to get that job delivered on time, and I had to call in some outside contractors who I was very pleased with and worked very well with, and now I can use them going forward on larger projects with confidence that I know that we're going to be able to deliver the product on time and on spec.
Yeah. And you've actually been approached to continue to build in that space, haven't you?
Yes, I've done a few more site surveys for projects of that size and larger.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So how many people in Perth, so we live in Perth, Western Australia,
Yep.
How many people in business in Perth can actually handle those kind of projects?
Look, to be honest, I couldn't say.
Yeah.
I only know of one other company that's done a project of that size in the metro area
Yeah.
recently.
Okay, so you kind of got some uniquenesses about your business that helps you, when businesses position themselves in the marketplace. That's a unique story to tell, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So what's your hope and dream for the business? Apart from the blue sky, I know we want blue sky, but what's, the next couple of years, what do you think it might look like?
Well, I hope to expand to a certain point. I don't want to become a large business. I'm getting on into my mid-50s, so I will be looking at a succession plan and taking a reduced role in future. Mm-hmm. So I have some family members coming into the business, which is good.
It's really good, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is one lesson that you've learned well that you would share with our viewing audience and listening audience that could be helpful for them in businesses? Because we touch base with a lot of businesses around the world.
Right, get a coach.
Well,
seriously,
thank you.
Get a coach.
That's really cool.
Because, you can really lose sight of what your objective is and get yourself into difficult situations, and then find yourself going backwards at a rate of knots. So, having a coach really helps in that regard.
Well, thank you very much for that. And that was unprompted, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So I appreciate the genuineness of that. Is there any other business principle that if I keep doing this, it really will help me and it will help other businesses?
Marketing.
Yes. Yeah.
Marketing is the key.
Yeah.
No sales, no business.
Yeah.
And marketing is changing, or has changed drastically in the last 5 years, and it's going to continue to change. So you need the right contacts to get your marketing right.
Yes. And being adaptable in the marketing world, not doing the same thing, expecting different results, and the power of marketing is measure it. So you know what your marketing is actually doing, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Especially in the changing environment. If you spend a lot of resources in one area and that becomes irrelevant, then you've not only wasted your resources, but you're losing sales and you're going backwards.
Yes. Well, Greg, it is great having you in the studio. That wasn't overly painful, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No, it's pretty good, eh?
Yeah.
It really is good. So Greg is from Bellinus. It's a great business here in Western Australia and doing great installs in the solar industry and then expanding in the electrical contracting business here in Western Australia. Great to have you in the show. And I'm looking forward to sharing this with you so you can use this to tell your story in your marketing about what you're doing in business. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.